This is one that's been sitting with me for a while. Everything, everywhere, all at once. This is such a tremendous film, and it's gotten praise all across the board, and it's well deserved. It's well deserved for what this film brings to the table, and what it kind of highlights, I guess you can say, when it comes to this era we're in, when everybody tries to make a sort of multiverse or tries to connect worlds in a way. I think it's just the fact that you kind of go into this expecting it to also be sort of an action film, and it is, but it's also like this drama, it's this comedy. It's got a lot of stuff, but it's also got a little bit of everything that makes it feel like it's formulated very well. And again, this has been getting high praise all over the place. It's gotten a bunch of awards. Its reception has been so amazing over the few months it's been out for, since March. And it's just and just the fact that Michelle Yeoh is in it, and she's a tremendous martial artist, a tremendous actress. You know, I've been following Michelle Yeoh since I watched her in Super Cop back in the 90s, but she's been around since the mid 80s, you know, Yes Madam. Then she did Super Cop. She's been behind the scenes as a judo instructor. She was in a 007 film. She was in the first Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in 2000. You know, she was one of the main characters in that. Fearless, Silverhawk. You know, you're talking not even just as a martial artist, but you're also talking as, you know, just a regular actress. And she's just tremendous. She's tremendous. She's a tremendous force whenever she's on the screen. So I usually watch almost anything she's in. I think the only things I really haven't seen her in is probably things that she's been a voice actor for. Because a lot of those things seem to be like things that don't interest me. Like this year, she's in the new Minions movie, which I don't necessarily give a shit about. And then she's also in this other film called Paws of Fury. I don't know what that is, and I would love to say that I will eventually watch it, but I probably won't. But maybe I will. Who knows? But yeah, just having her star in it and just be this tremendous force throughout the whole film, and what she has to go through, going through these friggin' dimensions that she's sort of passing along in and out of. Then you also take the fact that she has a tremendous supporting cast as well. You got Jamie Lee Curtis, which is like a why the hell is she in this film? But she is. You have Stephanie Sue, who I believe some might recognize her as being in Shang-Chi as well. Then you have the actress who plays her daughter, who I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head, but she's also in that Birds of Prey film, the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey film. She plays in that as well. So it's got this really good cast and this really good support system of good actors and actresses around it. And the story is just out of this world. It's just so bizarre, but also so like heartwarming and very, I don't want to say like tragic, but like just the drama aspect of it, because it does revolve around this family, and the family is going through this sort of rough spot where the mother, in her, you know, typical culture, is raised to be, you know, very successful, and she moved to America with a boy that they said you shouldn't be with, and they started this life, and they have a daughter, but she's feeling very estranged from her daughter, and she feels like she's turning slowly into somebody she doesn't want to, and she's kind of having this sort of self-doubt and kind of this midlife crisis of, you know, what am I doing with my life as, you know, an old school Chinese immigrant who immigrated to America and just winded up opening, you know, a laundry shop. And the whole premise is that her business is getting audited by the IRS. And that's what kicks off this sort of downward spiral where she gets exposed to this multiverse, this parallel universes that are intertwined with hers, where multiple versions of her exist, and each one is a different version of kind of what her life could have become. So like one is instead of going to America with the boy, that they separated. She stayed in her country and then became this really successful actress. He went to America, became this really successful businessman, and then they kind of intertwine later on down the line. There's a film where there's not a film. There's a universe where everybody has hot dogs for fingers, so they use their feet to do a lot of things. It's very fucking strange, but it's just funny for them to be like, yeah, we're just gonna do the multiverse, but we're gonna do whatever the hell we want. And the antagonist of the story is this being who's sort of like wants the multiverse to crash in on itself, because it's a version of her daughter who didn't get like wasn't really loved thoroughly enough from the mother, and she decided to go on this rampage of kind of destroying any version of her mother, which in sense would all of this crossing between verses has kind of caused it to kind of start to collapse in on itself. And with that happening, there's also like people who understand the multiverse and can access it while also accessing, you know, all of their other selves in the other verses, and they call it verse jumping. And it's just a very good idea behind what, you know, the multiverse is. What is fun about this is that it was originally written as Jackie Chan in the role, and there was a lot of back and forth between whether or not to make the film. This film has been in the works since 2010 as far as I can see, and just going off of that from its writers, and also should be mentioned, this was produced by a lot of people, but two of them being the Russo brothers. So the Russo brothers also had a hand in this, I'm guessing, because how can the Russo brothers not get involved in something that doesn't involve multiverses? Why not? But it was originally written for Jackie Chan as far back as 2010, so it took a long time for it to kind of get itself kickstarted and get reworked. They had thought of it as far back as 2016, making some final decisions. And then the whole thing was reworked, and finally they had chosen Michelle Yeoh, and she started up with the role when they started filming back in 2020. So it's a fun journey that this film went on to finally get created, and it's also great to see it get the praise that it very rightfully deserves. It is such a fun film. I really thought that this film was everything that I was expecting, but also almost nothing of what I was expecting. Like, I was expecting, you know, Michelle Yeoh to be kicking some ass. I wasn't expecting a lot of the drama, but the drama was, like, good. It's really entertaining. It really grabs you because you kind of fall into this line. And again, maybe it's just that I'm also a father now as well. So when I look at this, I look at like the family dynamic of it, and, you know, your perspective changes when you start a family and you have this idea of what it's like for your kids and what you want for your kids and what your kids actually want in all actuality isn't always what you want. And I guess that back and forth between the mother and daughter, it's, you know, it kind of hits home, but they also write it very well where it hits home where you find it enjoyable. And I do believe that is the case because it is very much surpassed anything that I think anybody was expecting from it. It's quadrupled its budget. I think it had a $25 million budget. It's done over $100 million in the box office during its run. Like I said, it's won multiple awards across the board. It's won awards at the Hollywood Critics Association Awards, the Saturn Awards, Gotham Independent Film Festival. It's up for so many awards, and it's won so many good things. Like, it won the a film festival award for just the editing for it. Like, that's how small the awards this thing is winning are, but it also is winning big awards like Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. All of these people, and I know the supporting actor who plays the father, he's in a bunch of things, but I don't know him all that well. I also know that he's been around for a long time, if I'm not mistaken. What's his name? It's gonna bother me. His name is Ki... Oh, shit! I never put this together! Ki Yu Kwan is also friggin'... It's Short Round from Indiana Jones. And Data from the Goonies, wow, he hasn't done something in so long. I thought he was somebody else. I thought he was somebody else completely. Holy shit, he hasn't been active in 20 years. The last film is it's a Hong Kong film called Second Time Around. Before that, Encino Man in 92. And then before that, basically, it was anything he was a kid in. The Goonies, Indiana Jones. Holy shit, I did not know that. I thought this dude was somebody else completely. I did not recognize him. Holy shit, that just blew my mind. That just blew my mind completely. Wow. I mean, that just makes me appreciate this even more. Just bringing somebody like Data from the Goonies back into the mix of things so many years later. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he had other things going on. He didn't really care about being involved in movies after the fact. But being that that's him, it just makes me appreciate this movie even more. And it's such a great film. I love how it's split into parts, and each one of those parts kind of tells the story of the acts of the film. You know how most of the time we'll always think of films that are split into acts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. This is split into Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, but it's like each part is sort of meant to express the journey that Michelle Yeoh is going through when it comes to her understanding of the multiverse, dealing with her family issues, and also dealing with the fact that she discovers this black hole like, you know, monster wants to destroy the multiverse because, you know, the mommy of her universe, you know, didn't do right by her, even more so than what she feels that she's doing to her daughter in this universe. So again, it's just every little thing I find out about this film, and at least every little thing that I seem to enjoy about this film just makes me enjoy it even more. I really haven't heard a single thing that anybody's talking negatively about it. There's probably somebody out there, you know, some like what's that one YouTube channel? I think it's called Cinema Sins, the guy who does everything wrong with a movie in like 10 minutes or less. I just watched the one he did for Doctor Strange, and there were some that I'm like, yeah, I saw what he was going with, but then there was some that's just like, it's nitpicky. You know, a lot of people can be nitpicky. I like to take a film for its face value, and I love what I can get out of a film. And I got what I appreciated the most out of this film was I got that feeling of uniqueness, even though it's just something that's falling in line with all these other universe building aspects that are being kind of thrown at us all over the place. MCU is doing it, you know, The Conjuring has done it. There's all these giant universes that are being built around us, and this is kind of a film that kind of builds it and gives it all to you within 2 hours. And I think that's a big feat. And they do hit it. They do like really nail it right on the head when they're able to fit in what you can understand. And it just shows that sometimes maybe it's those people that are writing it that are just not being able to get the point across. You know, like if they were able to build a universe, make me understand it, and make me understand what it is they're doing within 2 hours, and sometimes there are places that are doing it that aren't really getting it, I feel like that's on their part, and that's not anything that's wrong with the story. It has to be something wrong with the writing, because these guys who wrote this story and directed it, the same guys who wrote it are the same guys who directed it. And if they're able to get it going and figure it out and make it work, then it's possible that it can be done. You just have to have the ability to do it, and you have to be willing to say, you know, we're going to make it make sense however means necessary. And it could be a hit or a miss when you're talking about other places, other multiverses, other universes that are trying to be built. And this to me is not a miss. This to me is definitely something where it's like, I kind of want more. I kind of want this to lead off into something that isn't just this story of this family and Michelle Yeoh. I want this to be kind of more. I want more into this multiverse they built. I want more of the verse jumping and everything. I don't think we're going to get it, but it would be great to have it. You know, I can tell you right now that looking at the team up of who wrote and directed it, they aren't known for too much. Oh god. The only other movie they're credited for being the writers and directors of is Swiss Army Man. Oh boy, I don't think you know what Swiss Army Man is. I don't think you want to know what Swiss Army Man is. Just look that up to know like what it is that they have kind of done, I guess, in their writing and directing history. That Jesus, that's pretty bad. Swiss Army Man is not a good film. I know it's probably got its people that love it, but Swiss Army Man is not a good film by any means necessary. Uh, and knowing that these dudes went from that to what is Everything Everywhere All at Once just shows that, people can grow and people can make changes. And sometimes it isn't always everything that a person writes is going to be top notch. Anything that a person directs isn't going to be award winning, amazing film, but they're going to have the ones that stand out. And to me, this definitely stands out. And I do hope they kind of keep on this track of doing more, or we're going to wait another 6 years for them to hopefully write something. And hopefully it's not another Swiss Army Man, but maybe it's something else that's more along the lines of Everything Everywhere All at Once.